Hey everyone, I wanted to have a video to talk about my personal tips on how I learned to thrive in chaos. I guess I'm curious, have you ever felt like your life was more like a web browser, right? You've got 100 tabs open all at once. Well, that was me. I felt anxious, unfocused, and constantly just felt like I wasn't getting anything done. But then I discovered something that changed everything, right? I stopped fighting the chaos because the chaos was going to come anyways. And I just started to use it. And I guess you're kind of like, well, what does that mean? That kind of sounds a little backwards. Well, yeah, I think at the surface it does, but for me to share with you, for years I thought the answer was to have more control and to have tighter schedules, right? Have my hands on the pulse on everything. And then I realized that I was trying to force my life into like these little neat boxes. And that ended up creating more stress for me because at the end of the day, they weren't my boxes. They weren't my boxes to control. The real breakthrough for me wasn't just this magic moment. It was realizing that chaos is a normal part of life. And instead of building walls against it, I learned to actually just ride with it. And so today I'm sharing those tips that help me become more adaptable right in the middle of mass chaos. Okay, so let's talk about my first big change. One of the first things I did was ditch my rigid hour by hour schedules that I had. Anything that went off plan, I felt like my whole day was ruined. And so instead of like focusing on that, I redirected my approach and started thinking about the things I can control. Because at the end of the day, we can't control everything that occurs day by day. So when I started thinking about these things, I kind of considered them more like things that I can anchor myself to. What are things for sure that I can definitely do each and every day, or things that I do have a sense of control over? One of those things, and as small as it seems, is like, for example, making my bed. Every day, I made it a habit to make my bed. A few things on that. I felt like I got something accomplished. It makes your living space look more presentable, and at the end of the day you come home and your bed is made. And so it's a little thing, but it was one of those things that I thought was important. It's those small acts of order that you can put in your life that can help anchor you as you go through an unpredictable day. And so that's just a small example. Another example is when I go to the gym. Every morning I go to the gym before my children are awake and they start their day. It is something that's very important to me, and so I make it a priority, and that occurs at the beginning of each day. Another example is knowing working in corporate America, I tend to have a tendency to sit at my desk a little bit more than I should. And so I do make it a habit every day to go for a 10-minute walk, preferably outside. So even though these aren't like huge tasks, these are things that some simple routines that you can put in your life that will help give you some sense of like stability and also a little bit sense of control. So one of those big changes I made was I stopped planning each and every minute of every day, and I found several anchors that I would use during the course of my day to feel like I had some sense of say as the day went on. Another piece that I think is important to recognize is that many times we're taught that chaos is more of an enemy other than a friend. And so my approach with that is actually looking at it through the lens of this being an opportunity for growth. So as change and different situations occur where it does feel chaotic, I had a mental shift in my perspective. And with that, I started thinking, instead of the why me, or why is this happening to me, more of a what can I learn from this approach. So as those plans would get derailed, I would look for those unexpected opportunities to where I can learn and I can grow. And so, not saying this is an easy mind shift. This is something that takes time. I probably need to set another video to really go through that in depth, but it is about refocusing your mind on building that resilience and not reacting to chaos. I wanted to be more agile as a person, and so that was a way that I tweaked my approach to some things. Another piece that I think is important to share with you is that I had started practicing intentional pauses. So when things did get crazy, our natural tendency is to push harder, right? It's, put your head down, get into the grind, and get things done. But that many times actually leads to burnout. And so what I've learned is to practice intentional pauses, meaning when I felt overwhelmed, I would stop and I would take a minute and actually do a few breathing exercises. What these breathing exercises look like, and for me, because I am a natural introvert, I needed to kind of be in my own alone space. May that be in an office space where nobody else is around you, or in your car, or I just needed to take a step away and take a few minutes to where I would do those breathing exercises where you take a deep breath in through your nose, you hold that breath for 4 or 5 seconds, and then you breathe out through your mouth. I did that for several reasons, because that does naturally lower your heart rate. It also lowers your blood pressure, and it also helps pull down that natural stress response that we do have when things get a little bit out of order. And so when I would do these things, it would help me kind of get detached from that stressful spiral, and it would help me refocus my mind and remind me that I can choose how I react to a situation and my response, instead of having a natural reaction, which sometimes isn't always the best course of action. I could take that time and actually respond with intent, instead of running on impulse. And so it really is a strategic mindset, and a reset for yourself. And so I'll definitely have another video that dives a little bit more deeper into that pieces. So these are some of the strategies that I've used, and it's transformed on how I dealt with chaos. I guess I would love to really have an understanding from you guys as well. What are some tips and tricks and ideas that you have to share with the rest of the team? What are some things that you've used when things got messy that have helped you just get through some challenging times? Please share those in the comments. Let's learn from each other. I hope that this has been helpful. So if it has, please give it a like and subscribe for more. And remember, this is not about getting rid of chaos. Chaos is a constant, and it's always going to be there. It's more about building the inner strength to focus on being resilient and then handling chaos as it comes at us. Finding those anchors, as you say, to keep yourself feeling steady, and reframing our mindset to more seeing the opportunity in when things don't go according to plan, and being able to pause with intent so that we can move forward with purpose are those things I really wanted to make sure I drove home today. I do want to say thank you for watching. Keep growing, and I will see you next time.